My name is Meline Reeves, but everyone calls me Maddie. I was always the quiet one in the family, the one who stayed behind while the rest moved on. For years, I looked after my father as his health declined, managing the estate and honoring his legacy. The Reeves House in Charleston wasn't just a home, it was a part of our family's history. My father, James Reeves, built it with his own hands. He planted white roses the year I got engaged, said they'd be perfect for the wedding photos. They lasted longer than the marriage. Holden, my ex-husband, left me not long after the ceremony, for his secretary, Trisha. She's his wife now. And this morning, she showed up in my garden, in designer heels, like she owned the place. I didn't even look up when I heard her stilettos crunching the gravel. I just kept trimming the roses. Well, she said, her voice dripping with fake charm, still playing in the dirt. Maddie? I stayed quiet, clipped a thorny branch, and kept my hand steady. You know why I'm here, she continued, stepping closer. The will gets read tomorrow. Holden and I thought it best to settle things peacefully. I wiped my hands and turned to face her. There's nothing to settle, this is my father's house. She corrected, with a smug little smile. James treated Holden like a son for 15 years. We think we deserve our share. I gripped the shears a little tighter. You mean Holden, the man who cheated on me with you? I asked. She gave a careless shrug. Ancient history, your father forgave him. They played golf every Sunday. My father wasn't naive, I said. He wouldn't have left him anything. Her smile wavered for just a second. We'll see, she said, turning to leave. Start packing. We'll need at least a month to renovate when we move in. Once she was gone, I looked down at the crushed petals in my hand. My father said white roses meant new beginnings. Today, all I saw was red. I stayed in the garden long after her car disappeared. My hands were shaking, not from fear, but from rage. 2 weeks, that's how long it took for them to come circling. As I reached to gather fallen petals, something caught my eye, a small envelope, buried under the roses. Its corner was damp, but the handwriting was clear. It was my father's. To Maddie, it read. My breath caught. I brushed off the dirt. It felt heavy, like it held more than just words. I didn't open it. I called the only person I trusted, my best friend and attorney, Danielle Cooper. Trisha showed up. I told her, she's worse than we thought. Can you come? I'll be there in 20, she said, with wine. Danielle arrived with a bottle in one hand and her briefcase in the other. You haven't opened it? She asked. I waited for you. Let's see what he left you. With shaking fingers, I broke the seal. Inside was a letter, and a small brass key. Dear Matt, I read aloud. Asterisk if you're reading this, someone's already trying to take the estate. I'd bet it's Trisha. She always reminded me of a shark, all teeth, no heart. Danielle laughed softly behind her glass. The key opens the bottom drawer of my desk. Inside is everything you need to protect what's yours. Remember chess, Maddie? Sometimes, you lose a pawn to save the queen. Love. Dad, asterisk. I looked at Danielle, eyes stinging. She was already unlocking the drawer. He came to me 6 months ago, she said, right after his diagnosis. He planned for this. The drawer opened with a soft click. Inside, a thick envelope and a USB. There's more, Danielle said. 3 days before he died, your dad added a clause to the will, one that changes everything. What kind of clause? She gave a small, knowing smile, the kind that sets a trap. We spread out the contents, photos, statements, printed emails. One photo showed Trisha meeting a man in a dark parking lot. He had her followed, Danielle said. He didn't hope for the best, he prepared for the worst. And just like that, I realized, whatever Trisha thought was coming tomorrow, she had no idea what was waiting. That night, the house felt colder. Still, I sat in the study, surrounded by documents and my father's final words. And that's when the knock came, just after 9. It was my brother, Aaron Reeves. He didn't look like the man I saw at the funeral. His suit was wrinkled, his eyes hollow. He held a worn leather portfolio like a shield. You look awful, I said. Playing double agent isn't as glamorous as it sounds, he replied. Can I come in? I nodded and stepped aside. He walked into the study, glanced at the evidence, then sat across from me. So, he said, you found Dad's insurance policy. Why didn't you tell me what you were doing? My voice cracked. I hadn't meant to sound so angry, but I was. Because I had to make things right, he said, After what I did during your divorce, siding with Holden, ignoring how they treated you, I was wrong. He opened the portfolio and handed me a check. $500,000. That's what Trisha offered me, he said, to say Dad wasn't in his right mind when he changed the will. I looked up sharply, but you didn't take it. No, he said, I took it straight to Dad, told him everything. His voice broke. You should have seen his face, not angry, just disappointed. That hurt worse than any yelling. That's when he told me the plan and asked for my help gathering evidence. Aaron pulled a phone from his jacket pocket. I recorded everything, meetings, threats, even Trisha's voice. Want to hear? He hit play. So once the old man kicks it, we can test the will. Aaron testifies about his mental state. Holden's history with him will seal the case. Maddie won't know what hit her. My fists clenched tight. There's more, Aaron said, fast-forwarding. Holden's voice came next. We'll sell the house, liquidate everything. Maddie can go back to her little gardening business. She never deserved any of it. Turn it off, I whispered. He obeyed. Then he pulled out a final document. This is why I'm here, he said. Trisha didn't just want money, she wanted revenge. For what? For making Holden feel guilty, for taking alimony, for embarrassing them when you caught them. I swallowed hard, the memory sharp, walking in on them, her triumphant smile as my world shattered. She started embezzling from Dad's company 6 months before that, Aaron added. Dad found out just before his diagnosis. That's when he started planning. I leaned back, stunned. My father had seen it all coming, and instead of fighting with anger, he built a trap so clever, it would make them destroy themselves. Sometimes justice isn't found in courtrooms, sometimes it's in a letter, a drawer, and a father's faith in his daughter. The morning of the will reading dawned crisp and clear. Sunlight streamed through the study's tall windows, painting stripes on the hardwood floor. It should have felt peaceful, but my stomach churned like a brewing storm. Danielle was already there, organizing folders and papers on the oak desk. Across the room, a production crew adjusted lights, Trisha's idea. She'd hired them to capture the historic moment when she and Holden took control of the estate. She wanted to look gracious on camera. She had no idea what was coming. Aaron slipped inside and nodded. She's outside rehearsing her thank you speech, wants to do a walkthrough with the chandelier crew next. I nearly laughed. Nearly. Everything ready? I asked Danielle. She tapped the envelope holding the CTIC, the Conditional Trust Integrity Clause, Dad's final move. All set. Once they accept, the clause activates. No way out. Heavy footsteps echoed down the hall. Trisha entered first, dressed in black with a forced mournful look. Holden followed, stiff in his tailored suit. The camera crew trailed them, recording every move. Meline, Holden said with a stiff nod. Danielle rose. As legal representative of the late James Reeves, I will now read his last will and testament, along with any supplementary documents. Trisha barely contained her excitement. We're ready, she said, smoothing her neckline and glancing at the cameras. The will started as expected, some gifts to charity, minor bequests to distant relatives. Then came the main part. To my daughter, Meline Reeves, 60% of all estate assets, including the family home, business shares, and financial holdings. To my former son-in-law, Holden Barrett, and his current wife, Trisha Barrett, a combined 40% share. Trisha's face lit up, she grabbed Holden's arm. I knew it, she whispered, triumphant. He loved us too much to leave us out. But Danielle wasn't finished. However, she raised her voice. 3 days before Mr. Reeves's passing, a conditional trust integrity clause was added. Acceptance of any estate portion under this will requires a full review of financial activity and conduct, before and after the amendment. Trisha's smile froze. What does that mean? She snapped. Holden leaned in. What kind of clause? Danielle broke open a second envelope and laid out its contents: surveillance photos, signed bank records, printed emails, the USB drive. These documents, she said, collected by Mr. Reeves and verified by legal counsel, show evidence of financial misconduct, bribery attempts, and efforts to manipulate this will. Trisha snatched a photo from the desk. Where did you get this? Aaron stepped forward. Dad had you followed, recorded your meetings and calls. He knew what you were doing. Turn off those cameras, Trisha screamed, face pale. The crew just stared, stunned. Oh no, I said calmly. You wanted them here, remember? To make history. Danielle went on. Under the CTIC, any party found guilty of manipulating the testator or acting with malicious intent will forfeit their estate share. Effective immediately, Aaron added. You lose everything. Holden looked as if he'd been punched. Trisha opened her mouth but no words came out. The trap had sprung. Everything they thought they'd won slipped through their fingers. Trisha staggered back, a perfect facade cracking like glass under a hammer. Her eyes flicked between the camera crew and the pile of damning evidence. The color drained from her face. This is a setup, she hissed. You planned this? No, I said softly. Dad did. Holden grabbed a bank statement, hands trembling. Where did you get all this? From the drawer, I said. The one Dad told me about, in the letter he left just for me. Danielle nodded toward the camera crew. Every word, every move, they're all recorded. Now, it's part of the legal record. You can't do this. Trisha's voice cracked. We already signed the papers. Exactly, Danielle said calmly. By signing, you activated the CTIC clause. It says that if fraud is discovered after acceptance, all inheritance claims are void, and the entire record becomes public. Trisha spun toward the cameras, then back at Holden. Do something. Holden looked like he'd aged a decade in minutes. His mouth opened, but no words came, no defense. You were so sure you had it all, I said. So confident you fooled everyone. I did everything for him, Trisha spat. Helped him start a new life. You helped yourself. Aaron stepped forward, took his money, his company, and then tried to rewrite history, but Dad saw right through you. Now, so does everyone else. Trisha slammed her palm on the desk. Turn off those damn cameras. I don't think they work for you anymore, I said steadily. The lead cameraman didn't flinch. He kept filming. This was better than anything they imagined. Danielle reached for the final document. Per the clause, Mr. Reeves named Meline Reeves sole heir, with a private trust fund set up for Aaron. You too, she said, locking eyes on Trisha and Holden, get nothing, except the legal consequences of your actions. Trisha's chair toppled as she stood abruptly, pale, hands trembling. She stormed for the door, muttering lawsuits and slander, but no one followed. Holden trailed silently, broken. The door slammed, silence settled. Danielle leaned back, a smile breaking free. Your father would have loved that ending. I exhaled slowly, the weight of weeks lifting. Yeah, I said, because sometimes revenge isn't loud, it's patient. It's watching them walk right into the ruin they built for someone else, while the whole world watches. That evening, I returned to the garden where it began. The white roses stood tall, quiet witnesses to a storm past. The same petals Trisha mocked now grew protected by roots deeper than she could touch. I knelt by the oldest bush, Dad's favorite, and placed a photo beside it. Not of evidence, but of him and me, arms around each other, dirt-smudged faces, laughter under the summer sun. The sky glowed lavender, the breeze smelled of jasmine and honeysuckle. Aaron appeared behind me, quiet, hands in pockets. Remember when we raced bikes around the fountain? I asked without looking. He chuckled. You always cheated through the tulips. I was efficient. I smiled. Dad said that was good strategy. He stepped forward, holding a small rose bush in a black pot. Thought we could plant one together, something new. We worked side by side, no words, just the soft scrape of soil and settling roots. When done, I stood and faced the red rose, bold and unapologetic. A new chapter. I'm sorry, Aaron finally said. I know, I replied, and I forgive you. This garden never needed words to speak. It's always been about second chances, growth after being cut back. As the wind moved through the branches, one truth was clear. This house, this garden, this life, it's mine, thorns and all. People say revenge is about getting even, but standing there in my father's study, watching truth unfold on camera, I realized it's something deeper. This wasn't about shouting or breaking down. It wasn't just money or property. It was about reclaiming my worth. I'm Meline Reeves. 4 years. Others tried to rewrite my story, my ex, his new wife, even my brother. But Dad? He never forgot who I was, even when I did. In the end, he gave me more than a house. He gave me the tools to stand tall. And the reminder that quiet strength is louder than rage. To anyone who's ever been dismissed, betrayed, or told they don't matter, you are not replaceable. You are not disposable. Sometimes the best win is to let your enemies reveal themselves. To prepare in silence. And let the truth speak. My father's last gift wasn't just a legal win. It was a lesson. The sharpest weapons are love, foresight, and dignity. So plant your roots deep. Stand firm in your truth. And if someone tries to take what's yours, make sure they know they picked the wrong garden.